is high-stakes lacrosse.
You know, like the sign says.
Jordan, thank you. It is high-stakes lacrosse. On a Thursday night in the ACC, we come to you from South Bend, Indiana. Yeah, it's still April. It feels like May as we get a top 25 showdown between North Carolina and Notre Dame. And a Schroff, Quint Kesnick, you can't say it any cleaner. You can't say it any clearer. This is an elimination game tonight.
We need to win out, the words of Kevin Corrigan, Notre Dame head coach. Meanwhile, Joe Bresci said we're going to treat this game like it's a playoff game. This is what we live for.
For Notre Dame, this was a team that started 2-4. They have won 3 straight. The difference.
Jake Taylor's been the difference. He's been added to attack. What he does well is catch the ball in traffic and finish it from close range. 15 goals in the last 3 games. His presence has changed this entire unit, though. They're moving the ball better. They're generating higher quality shots, and the scoring has gone through the roof. Taylor didn't play last season. He tore his ACL. Suddenly, he's in the mix here. This is a new offense entirely.
Prior to this 3-game blitz from Taylor, he had 3 career goals leading up until that point. For North Carolina, Chris Gray has made Hercules' 12 labors look like child's play. He has carried this team all season.
He does a little bit of everything. He's a graduate transfer from BU, a humble superstar, work ethic off the charts, makes his teammates better. Okay, he facilitates and the offense runs through Gray. He's not a ball hog, but when the game's on the line, when the money's on the table, you turn to Chris Gray and he gets it done.
And he's closing in on history, 9 points away from setting the Division I career scoring mark, trailing only the great Lyle Dobson of Albany. He's had more time to do it. He's had a sensational career, and we've seen this with both coaches. Notre Dame, Kevin Corrigan, they put Jake Taylor into the lineup looking to jumpstart the offense. Joe Bresci, late in the season, changing up his attack in midfield.
I look at it like hockey. They're always trying to find the magic on a line. Who can complement and who can change the math? So 1 + 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3, it equals 4.5. Coming up with personnel combinations to maximize the roster.
Will Lynch wins the opening faceoff for Notre Dame, and you start to point to improvement for the Irish over these last 3 games. There's another area of faceoffs. Notre Dame in the glistening gold helmets, white jerseys. On attack to begin. Eric Dobson, Wheaton Jacobois, and Quinn McCann, who's got it, the starting midfield. The 2 Kavanaugh brothers and Taylor starting on attack. Here is Pat Kavanaugh. Shoots with a right hand, and he beats Colin Krieg. 1-0 Notre Dame. Kavanaugh on an absolute tear the last 3 games. Now 22 points in his last 3+.
Kevin Corrigan operates as Notre Dame's offensive coordinator, and he likes to put in opener plays. This is as simple as it gets. They spin it once, they get it to their best player, Pat Kavanaugh, and they give him the whole side to run downhill right-handed. They move him around. He'll attack from X point behind. Well, there you see what he can do up top. The Irish off to a strong start.
Back to the face-off X. Andrew Tyre and Will Lynch, both of Carolina's primary face-off men, battling injuries, Tyre and Tucci. And this turns into a melee. And it trickles back toward Notre Dame. Yard sale. Out of the scramble, the Irish control.
You get a sense that Carolina, their quilt is coming apart at the seams, physically, emotionally. Injured Fogos, no midfield production. Nearly lost a game last week to Syracuse. You wonder how much is left.
They've given up possession on the first 2 face-offs. Here's Eric Dobson, big 6'4" sophomore out of Florida. Now Kavanaugh again has room. Bouncer saved by Krieg. Growing pains on defense all season for UNC, and there's the ride. Chris Kavanaugh I was going to say Krieg has been the bright spot in cage, but the Notre Dame ride forces the turnover.
Krieg sits at 52%, the sophomore lefty from Long Island. He's having an incredible year. Don't believe those numbers, because as strong a season at 52% as I have ever seen. He's been under constant pressure.
Joe Bresci told us he's the best goalie I've had in 14 years as UNC's head coach. Here's McCann, draws the slide. Jacobois, his shot deflected. Wheaton Jacobois was in a 7 for 40 shooting slump to begin the season. He snapped out of it too, 9 of 11 in his last 3.
Yeah, he went 0 for 9 against Virginia, and since has hit 9-11. Looks like Carolina's at times double polling the midfield.
Pat Cavanaugh maneuvers his way through the entire defense. It comes to Krieg.
Again, Krieg fights that often. He didn't fall for the fakes. He held his feet. He never really bailed out. And the longer you as a goalie can have the ball in the shooter's stick, the better. He basically didn't give the shooter a free opening.
UNC gets it across, first offensive possession. And Joe Bresci has changed the look of this offense. Nicky Solomon and Jacob Kelly moving from attack to the starting midfield along with Cole Herbert. The freshman Dewey Egan and the junior Lance Tillman flank Chris Gray on attack.
In effect, they're playing with 5 attackmen on the field right now.
They want their best offensive personnel out there. They have not had much midfield production this season. Here is Herbert. He's been feast or famine this year. And that one whipped wide by Jacob Kelly, coming off a 4-assist game. Carolina last year had the best midfield in the country. Will Perry, Justin Anderson, Tanner Cook, all fifth-year seniors, all moved on. Now Tillman skips wide, and the backup to Jacob Kelly. 10 on the shot clock. Shot clock down to 5. Tillman around the cage, saved by Entenmann. Snagged out of the air by Arden Cohen. He's wearing the number 40 today.
Tillman had him. Fakes worked, he dips and dunks, and somehow Entenmann takes that off the forehead.
Entenmann 56% on the season. Now Notre Dame's got to get it across before that shot clock hits 60. Meyer able to do so. The pass is errant. Will Angrick tiptoes the sideline and gets it to Cavanaugh. Double team, stick checked it away. Connor Marr up ahead to Chris Gray. Now Gray using the pick. Cohen picks him up, and Carolina settles. Nicky Solomon runs on along with Jose Boyer for Notre Dame. 8 in blue, 46 in white. Carolina opts to stay with that first midfield. Kelly lost it, retrieves. Solomon down the alley, ties it at 1.
Starts with the ride. Carolina does a great job. Notre Dame's clearing up the box side of the field. That's not recommended. Traffic coming in and out of the substitution box. The clear bogs down. Then at the other end, they just do a good clear out. Notre Dame plays man-to-man defense. They like to help either from the inside or adjacent, but they create all sorts of space. There's an alley, and we're tied up at 1.
A face-off violation against Tyre, and Notre Dame will have the ball. Irish have controlled possession early. Quint, when you take a snapshot of Notre Dame, the resume outside of the Duke win, none of the other wins move the needle.
They don't really have a resume. They're right now RPI 17 with a record of 5-4. They've beaten number 12 in the RPI, Duke. Wins over Michigan and Syracuse, not doing much. Good news for them, they finished with this game at Syracuse, and then they wrap things up hosting Duke on May 7th, I believe, on ESPN2.
May 1st.
Oh, May 1st.
No, you're right, May 7th. May 7th, ESPN2, yes. There's Morrison Myrer.
So if they can run the table,
they're in.
If Notre Dame runs the table, I believe they get in. Same goes for Carolina. Same goes for a lot of teams. If you look around the country, everyone says, you control your destiny. Right now, you get hot, win your last 3 or 4 games, you're in.
This is Taylor. Who else? Man of the moment for Notre Dame, right on the doorstep. His 18th goal, 16 goals, 26 shots in his last 3+ games, Quint.
Denver, Colorado. He takes a beating. He's strong. Look at him leaning in. He's double teamed. Big deal. So what? Look at him. Generating contact through his hips and his shoulders, protecting his stick and then finishing. The beauty about Jake Taylor is he's a one-dimensional player, but he knows it. He catches the ball and he finishes. That's his lone job. That's all he does. And for some reason, that's freed up everyone else and made this offense that much better.
Notre Dame, on a lot of its quality teams, have had a guy like that. Ryan Hoff, our colleague, John Sosha, Mikey Wynn, Will York a season ago.
Like, there's clarity and role definition now in this offense, where I think a month ago when we watched them, we said, yeah, I like the parts, but they're just not playing together. It just doesn't fit yet. It fits now. The ball movement, it's crisp. The player spacing, it's on target.
There's McCann down the alley, shot altered, and no knock against Griffin Westland, who had been the starting attackman and was terrific on attack a season ago. But Taylor just fits better with the two Kavanaughs. Here's Chris Kavanaugh dusting his man. And then he stumbled. Dobson.
With Taylor inside, Anish, when these midfielders are dodging and you're covering Taylor, do you want to leave him now? So maybe teams have been slower to double team.
Well, they left him there. Krieg stops that one, picked up off the ground by Alex Bresci. Ahead to Matt Wright, still not 100%. And we're going to get a loose ball push against Notre Dame, so UNC will have it. And they will wait for their offensive personnel. The ACC non-conference games as a league, 14 losses. Now North Carolina, only one non-conference loss to Ohio State. Here comes Tillman. You got a couple of teams where the eye test and the resume,
that's an understatement.
Speaks differently.
That's an understatement. Carolina's they're a fuzzy right now. Most people have them as a bubble in at this very moment. 8-4, 11 in the RPI, wins over Brown, who's a top 10 win, Denver, Richmond, and Johns Hopkins.
That Brown win wasn't on anybody's radar, and then the Bears went out and beat Yale over the weekend. Gray dropped the ball. 1-on-3, now a couple of extra blue shirts join the party. And it's picked up by McCann.
Push it here.
It's ahead to Boyer.
This is where you want to push it.
The Irish can run. Boyer scored a goal earlier this season in the loss to Ohio State.
It's a good job by Carolina to kind of sense what was going on. They bail to the substitution box and then sub on. Lacrosse, like hockey, subs on the fly.
It's funny, Quint, with Notre Dame, this is a team, if they run the table and get into the NCAA tournament, they could be playing on Memorial Day. It's that kind of team. Riley Gray, Krieg ran it all the way.
Krieg makes it look so easy. He's got the mohawk back, Colin Krieg. It's money time right now in the season when Krieg shaves it down to the mohawk. I'm sure his mom's not happy. She didn't like that look last year.
It got UNC to championship weekend, so you go to the good luck charms this time of the year. Gorgeous day in South Bend. Weather absolutely perfect. Temperatures in the 60s. Probably as nice a day I've experienced weather-wise in South Bend that I can remember. Here's Dewey Egan, the 6'4" freshman, part of the #1 recruiting class in the country. Now Solomon feeding inside. Skip pass. We've seen a lot of that. Chris Gray dropped one. Don't see that often. Tillman double team, got nothing on the shot. Easy save for Entenmann. And now the outlet. Carter Parlett thunders into the box. Parlett dumps it off. Chris Kavanaugh. Here comes the double. They've got Solomon trapped on defense. And a penalty coming. It's going to be a slash on Solomon. Notre Dame has the #1 man-up offense in the country. 65%.
You can just tell by the skirmishes, by the 50-50 plays in this game, how much this game means.
Jacoboy's bouncer. And now we get to see Notre Dame unleash that vaunted EMO.
Nicky Solomon with the slash right here. Remember, he's an attack when playing midfield, and so he's got to run back into the hole and defend, and he's not in his comfort zone playing midfield defense. He just gets a little sloppy. One hand on the stick.
What makes this man up so good?
I think you've got some scary parts with Dobson as an outside shooter, the Kavanaughs as passers. Jacoboy in that low lefty corner.
Dobson over to Pat Kavanaugh. Jacoboy. Jacoboy, Dobson, Pat Kavanaugh, all lefties. There's the feed inside and the shot high by Richard Daly, the freshman, 5-star recruit, and Carolina averts disaster.
Krieg wins the run out, the goaltender.
Still got to get it across before that shot clock hits 60. And still time on this Notre Dame man up. Krieg says, I'm going to try to go. Tries to split a double team. Matt Wright bails him out. Here comes Wright. Carolina man down. They had a handful of man down goals last season.
You know, when you're man down as a goalie, you have to know, in all likelihood, you may have to run by a man.
Or two.
Krieg with no fear, bailed out by Matt Wright.
Chris Gray has been quiet so far. He has not taken a shot.
I think the good news for Carolina is you've gotten off the plane and you're ready to play. Like, this team is sharp. They're physically and emotionally ready to play. That hasn't always been the case when teams come out here to South Bend.
Yeah, it's not 12-0 before you blinked. Chris Gray over to Egan. Gray, hesitation. There's the double. Notre Dame's defense. And Gray, what a feed! Eyes in the back of his head to Lance Tillman. It looked like a decoy. It looked like he was resetting, and he finds Lance Tillman all alone on the crease.
How about this pass from Gray? Eyes always up, the spatial awareness, able to predict the movement of bodies. Physicality on display. It's ACC Lacrosse, tied up at 2.
Check out this verbo. Come on. Now I'm here, now you're here. Can't go on 'cause I am right where I belong.
Hey sis, check out this cute spot. Bougie. I prefer my coffee with a view. Time to put the work in. Safety first.
The 2022 Chevy Blazer and Trailblazer with standard Chevy Safety Assist, part of the Chevy family of SUVs. Find new experiences, find new roads.
Current qualified lessees can get this Blazer for around $279 a month. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Chris Gray, only 5'7", shoulders as wide as Atlas, heart like Hercules, and vision like what? Dr. Strange?
He is like a quarterback dissecting his own coverage just as a young man. Shoreham Wading River on Long Island. Played JV as a freshman. Had 115 points in 10 games. They didn't pull him up to varsity. You had to wonder what his mom, Donna, and dad, Ken, who's a former New York City police officer who's retired, was thinking about. Chris Gray was a great high school running back as well. So there's a combination there. There's the vision, but there's also the strength and power.
Chris Gray is third all-time in points at North Carolina. Remember, he began his career at Boston University. So he's done that in about 2.5 seasons. 2020 was cut short. He's only 2 points away from tying Marcus Holman for second. 18 points away from Joey Sankey's school record, and again, in 2.5 years.
Always fun to watch, and if you're a young player, try to grab some eyes on him in terms of the outside shooting range, the passing game, the dodging angles and moves that he pulls off.
Quinn McCann over to Jacoboys. Trail check that time, well timed by Paul Barton. Another freshman. He started all season on close defense.
Krieg got dumped. Coach Bresci wanted the call.
Evan Egan recently returned from injury.
Carolina's defense has gotten dramatically better in the last month, Anish.
Well, they've gotten healthy. That's been part of it.
Evan Egan back in the lineup. Sean Morris back in the lineup.
Matt Wright.
Matt Wright missed 4 or 5 games with a knee injury. He's back. Their shorties have been good all year, their defensive midfielders. It was the guys down low who weren't getting it done.
Connor Marr, one of the best short stick D-middies in lacrosse. Alex Bresci really has had a nice season, and Dominic Pryor gives them a veteran, the Hofstra transfer. Chance here, and that one looked like it got Entenmann off the arm, and he doesn't even show any signs of wincing. Feeding off the pain and cage.
Look at him, he's fired up. He's a little annoyed at his defense that there was no help.
Second midfield getting some run. The Schertzinger twins, Henry number 2, Harrison number 5. And you're seeing Chris Nicholas now, the redshirt junior. Here's Gray. He's got the short stick matchup with McCann. He'll isolate him. Now help coming. Gray looking to feed the middle. And we're going to get a loose ball push on the Irish. I didn't see that. Was that a shell job by Tillman? Or?
No, not really. You know, Gray does a good job. He draws the double team and then pulls the players away. The cuts weren't well timed. You had 2 Carolina players kind of bumping into a mess. But the key there, Anish, is they get the reset.
Yeah, shot clock back to 60 now. High stakes game in the ACC. Really an elimination game. Both head coaches admitted as much. Outside of Virginia, nobody's really a sure thing for the NCAA tournament in this conference. After all 5 made the tourney last year, 3 of them got to championship weekend, and Notre Dame almost was the 4th. Harrison Schertzinger, the double team dislodges it. Nicholas can't pick it up. And the Irish emerge. Ben Ramsey.
That's a critical stop. Late in this quarter now. Manage the clock here before the end of the quarter.
Here comes Ramsey. Over to the wing. Chris Kavanaugh. Back behind X. Only 10 seconds to go. Kavanaugh makes his move against Egan. Terrific defense. Krieg picks it up. Heaves it downfield. Off the stick of Entenmann. There's going to be some time left. Now there should have been about a second, maybe 1.3 left. But the horn blows, and they will say that is the end of quarter number 1. The usual suspects putting their stamp on this game. We've seen the Kavanaugh brothers involved. Chris Gray with a SportsCenter top 10 worthy assist, even at 2.
Okay, this is a freezer, not a time capsule. Sometimes the house itself can tell you how a young homeowner is turning into their parents.
Not those two.
Yep, they're gone.
Forever?
Yep.
That there is Progressive's Home Quote Explorer website, where I compared home insurance rates.
We don't need to print the internet. Some are beyond help. I will give you $100 if you can tell me what this is.
Scotch egg.
It's a meatball.
Progressive can't help you from becoming your parents, but we can help you compare rates on home insurance with Home Quote Explorer.
We've got a lot of work to do.
We're getting close to Selection Sunday. We're getting close to May Madness. And the Bubble Watch, Quint, it's intriguing this year. Brown with back-to-back wins against Penn and Yale. RPI at 9. Ohio State owns wins against UNC and Notre Dame. It seems like UNC, Notre Dame, and Duke, that's going to be one team out of a three-team derby to emerge in the ACC outside of Virginia.
And while Notre Dame may be playing like a top 10 team, their resume leaves a lot of questions to be answered. There's just nothing there right now to consider Notre Dame as an at-large. And remember, the ACC only has 5 members. There's no automatic qualifier and no ACC tournament for a free bid.
And as much as you and I and everybody who covers lacrosse can talk about how a team looks and eye test, what does history tell us as you look at the tournament odds from our friends at Lax Reference? The selection committee, it has been so heavily weighted over the years with RPI.
You're right. It's a rigid formula. RPI, strength of schedule, quality wins, bad losses. No eye test, no recency factor. That is, a team could end up the season. Wow.
Oh, the physicality. Kavanaugh lowers the shoulder, punches it ahead. Krieg and Kavanaugh converging. They collide. Flag down.
This game has been vicious.
Now you're looking at 2 of the toughest players in the country. Colin Krieg, the Mohawk rocking goalie for UNC. Pat Kavanaugh, the leader of this Notre Dame team.
This call's going to go against Notre Dame. That's a clean hit and well done. 2 hands on the stick. Like hockey, you swivel the hips.
That wasn't the penalty.
This is the penalty right here. 1 hand on the stick.
Above the shoulder.
Kavanaugh goes for the chin and the head. Krieg knew it right away. And he's lucky he's not dazed. He took a haymaker right to the chin.
Illegal body check, and North Carolina with a full minute extra man opportunity.
That's an illegal body check for 2 reasons. Kevin Corrigan can argue all he wants. The player needs to have 2 hands on his stick to make contact, and you cannot make contact with the head or neck area. And that clearly was an elbow, forearm, shoulder into the jaw of goalie Colin Krieg.
Henry Schertzinger plays it back to Cole Herbert. Over to Gray, looking for a corner too high. Jacob Kelly, the backup.
That's a shot, Anish.
First shot of the game for Gray.
He has made a career out of painting that far offside corner.
Gray, the presumptive #1 pick in the PLL draft. Henry Schertzinger with the crank there.
Yeah, and I don't think it's close either. I think that's a no-brainer. If a GM or head coach makes any other selection, they should lose their administrative license and their coaching license.
Antiman stops that one off the cross of Kelly. Couldn't save the rebound clean. It's on the turf. It's picked up by Matt Douglas. Douglas has stepped in as that 3rd defenseman with the season-ending injury to Carson Cochran. Lehigh transfer.
Yeah, you know, Lehigh plays a lot of zone, so it's been a little bit different for Douglas here, where they play exclusively man-to-man.
This one is punched back toward the cage. And the question is, did Krieg get a piece of it? He saves it, no one in the cage. And Notre Dame slams on the break. Krieg retreats to his goal. Pat Kavanaugh out of the sin bin. David Lipka on now, part of that second midfield.
Dobson and Jacobois, 8 and 55, must produce.
Now Lipka getting some run with that unit here. Pat Cavanaugh has the short stick. Alex Bresci, the nephew of UNC head coach Joe Bresci. Cavanaugh feeding the wing. Lipka's shot turned away by Krieg. Colin Krieg has played well in cage this game, as he has done most of the season for UNC.
That was really good by Krieg. Not beaten to the punch. He's ready. He takes away high from inside.
Yeah.
Force the shooter to go low or beat you to a corner. Just good discipline by the goaltender. And quite honestly, not great shot placement by Lipka.
4 saves for both goalies. Will Nicholas now, grandson of the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, 18-time major winner. Dewey Egan shovels it wide with the backhand. Jack, like you, owns a green jacket. He's got more than you. I know you've got one.
We both wear them once a year.
Yeah. Masters champion Quint. There comes Gray using the pick. Flag down. Another extra man opportunity for North Carolina coming up. Gray looking to make that pass to Schertzinger, and UNC will have the man up.
Hans Wittelsberger with the call.
They get Arden Cohen, Notre Dame's best defender.
Wearing 40 today in honor of Mike Sennett, former Notre Dame player and longtime high school coach.
40 Arden Cohen, one of the selection.
Chris Gray now, an assist today. Over to Kelly, skip pass, Solomon dropped it. A lot of passes being dropped by both sides. Here's Gray, fakes the crank, one more, too high. Henry Schertzinger took that shot, only 13% shooting on the season. Both teams not shooting it well. 2 for 13 for UNC. Notre Dame 2 for 15. Tillman to Gray. Gets by Hallenbeck, and Chris Gray gives North Carolina its first lead of the game.
Not your typical man-up goal. Interesting that Hallenbeck, who's normally a defensive midfielder, is given a long pole on this group when the foul is committed against the defender, Arden Cohen. But Gray uses the over-aggressive approach by Hallenbeck against him. So if you run out at Chris Gray, he's going to dodge off of you an angle. Tough to play him when you run at him. It's almost like a cornerback guarding a wide receiver. You want to backpedal.
Face-offs, 5-1 in favor of the Irish. Make it 5-2 or not. No, we get a push.
Lynch got there first. He missed the first-time grounder, but he was pushed behind. Lynch has come a long way. I tell you, you talk about a tough face-off schedule to start the season. Georgetown, James Riley. Maryland, Luke Weirman. Ohio State, Justin Inacio. Michigan, Rowlett. Like
Petey LaSala.
A gauntlet he has gone through as a freshman.
His last 4 games, though, he's at 55%. There comes Bryce Walker. There's Krieg again, the denial out of the cage. He and Taylor battling for it. Another ground ball. And Notre Dame emerges with it. Bryce Walker. You point to where the Irish have improved. Face-offs one area, shooting the other. First 6 games, 27%, 43% in this 3-game win streak. Riley Gray's shot is blocked. Mo Myra retrieves it close to the equator.
They're just not getting much out of their midfield right now in this game.
Walker's got 5 goals this year. Dumps it behind the cage. Pat Cavanaugh against Matt Wright. Walker setting the pick. Little two-man game. Now Walker against Connor Marr. Cavanaugh picks for him. Back to Pat Cavanaugh. Here comes the Shamrock Shake. Shot clock at 10. Cavanaugh probing, orchestrating. Trying to split a double, feeding the crease. Taylor can't handle it. Shot clock violation, UNC ball.
Carolina D, terrific job there. Everybody digging in, winning their matchups, being sound on the inside. Coach Bresci now is going to want his offense to settle, get a sub, and give his D a breather. Wouldn't even be surprised if he called a timeout here in this possession if he doesn't like what he sees.
It's been a punishing game for the first 20 or so minutes. There's Lance Tillman. Had a huge NCAA tournament last year. Got the moniker Dance Tillman. Trying to tornado through this Notre Dame defense. It's not there. Gray's got the short stick matchup against Harris. Gray can go with either hand. Can he get top side? There comes the slide. There's that patented jumper. Save Entenmann loose in front and picked up by Boyer. That one hit the official and scooped off the carpet by Douglas.
Athletic save by Entenmann to the offside hip. Was really well placed.
Dueling goalies, both have 5 saves. McCann makes his way around Schwartz. Wheaton Jackaboy's 5th-year senior out of Kansas City, down the alley. Carolina defensively does not have an answer. Taylor on the doorstep, his second. He started 4 games, Quint. He's had at least multiple goals, and all of them now.
Notre Dame's defense has never been really matchup oriented, but they support. And so when Chris Gray's on a shorty, they send the troops. Entenmann bails him out with a beautiful offside save, and then the team offense. Cavanaugh to Taylor.
It's time. Get ready for spring break at Six Flags. Come on, people. This is your hall pass for epic fun. Fly through the air. Feel the rush of adrenaline. Devour that funnel cake and hang with your friends. Yeah, he knows. This is spring break at Six Flags. Come make it yours. Keep the thrills going all season. Check out our new passes and perks at sixflags.com.
We can fly.
You do cool spins.
People need to read it.
I can't read it.
It's because you're like 4.
4.5.
Switch to progressive and you can save hundreds. You know, like the sign says.
Who had Jake Taylor and his emergence as being this kind of game changer for Notre Dame? But since the Irish inserted him into the starting lineup, it's been a different offense, and his production has been off the charts as the off-ball crease guy who always seems to be in the right spot.
Denver, Colorado with terrific hands. He's super smart on the inside too, and he soaks checks. He's willing to pay the price. Reminds me of an old school hockey player that's assignment is to play in front of the goalie and muck for rebounds and get in the way and then finish from close range.
Face-offs have been in Notre Dame's favor today. Tyre scrapping, picks it up, only the second face-off won by Carolina. And Tyre still able to retain possession, has to play it back to Krieg. Notre Dame will look to set up its tenacious ride. Pat Cavanaugh nearly knocked Krieg out of bounds. In fact, he did. Henry Schertzinger to Brother Harrison. Over to Chris Gray, and Entenmann denies, going down low.
Entenmann super smooth.
Here's Taylor. The ball does not stay in his cross for long. Entenmann's been superb in goal. So is Krieg, who's also shown the willingness to come out of the cage and not be afraid to mix it up a little bit tonight.
Both Long Islanders, but they're really different. They're really different cats.
Entenmann, one of 7 players from Chaminade on the roster, Jacoboys. And the backup to Chris Cavanaugh.
Entenmann's kind of like a manager. You know, he's concerned with getting his 9 hours of sleep, eating just a little on game day. He juggles 44 times in his pregame warm-up. He's got his pipe rituals. You know, he's the typical wacko goalie.
You could relate.
Krieg, he's like a gamer, man. Whatever that you need for him to win, he'll do it.
Chris Cavanaugh, shot clock at 15. Goes up against Gable. There is Taylor, shot blocked. Pat Cavanaugh now, shot clock at 5. Against Marr, Cavanaugh from long range. And only 1 on the shot clock. Notre Dame's gonna have to dump it in the corner.
Great defense. 2 guys, Matt Wright, 20 in the Carolina blue, and Connor Marr, 31 in the Carolina blue. In my eyes, their best 2 defensive players all season, those 2 guys.
Matt Wright brings it across. Since he came back from injury, we've seen Wright play a lot of close defense. Joe Bresci wants to conserve some of those legs. Harrison Schertzinger against Ryan Hallenbeck. Terrific long stick D-Midi, and Jason Reynolds, the Richmond transfer, knocks that pass away. 2-time first team SoCon for the Spiders. Tillman now with a nice swim move. He's matched up on the shorty Hallenbeck. Tillman to Henry Schertzinger. Errant pass. Schertzinger able to recover.
Hey, he made a mistake there, putting the ball on the carpet, but how about the effort to get it back?
Tillman shot too high.
Tillman and Cole Herbert, who's not on the field right now, 1 in Carolina, but to me are the offensive guys who need to be difference makers.
X-factors.
1 and 0 for Carolina.
Chris Nicholas now, redshirt junior, still looking for his first career goal. Not that time, Entenmann took it away. 7 saves now for the junior. Carolina's ride, such a weapon last year, it hasn't had the same effect this year.
Personnel departing, Will Bowen now playing at Georgetown, inexperienced in the midfield.
A timeout by Kevin Corrigan, 4:02 to go, first half. For all intents and purposes, this is Survivor. The winner tonight keeps its postseason hopes alive. For the loser, they'll be spending most of the month of May at home. Carolina's resume, RPI number 11, the Brown win, starting to look better after Bruno knocked off Penn and Yale. So yes, we are talking about Bruno. The losses, no real bad loss on the ledger. Ohio State, Virginia twice, and Duke. And they still have 1 more game against Duke. And Quint, I look at those 3, UNC, Duke, and Notre Dame. That's a round robin. They're all going to play each other down the stretch. If somebody wins out, that team is in. Worst case scenario for the ACC, if there's enough carnage, the ACC may be a 1-bid league with Virginia.
That would be hard to believe. Think if you're an ACC fan, as you look at Notre Dame's resume, 5-4, wins over number 12 Duke, wins over Michigan and Syracuse, which are outside the top 20. They finish up with this game at Syracuse, and then they host Duke. If you're an ACC fan, quite honestly, you want to see Brown and Harvard tank, and tank badly.
Brown still has to play Cornell, which is no gimme. Although the Big Red, they've been banged up. It's a young team, and they almost lost the Carrier Dome to Syracuse and lost badly to Army.
And then when championship week gets here, and that's what, May 6, 7, and 8 weekend before Selection Sunday, that's May 8th, there could be no bid stealers. I mean, the ACC is toast. So many of them on the bubble. If they're bid stealers, this could get ugly.
And Harvard's got a tough closing slate as well. Princeton and Yale. The bid thief, if you're the ACC, that scares you is the Big East, potentially, because Georgetown's getting in if they don't win the Big East tournament. But if a Denver or a Villanova were to win the Big East, that's a bid thief. Krieg, another save. Oh, the goalie play has been sensational in this first half.
Look at this riding by Notre Dame.
Kavanaugh's.
Look at these guys. It's like they got an extra player out there just flying around making things happen.
They ride it back. Here's Pat Cavanaugh.
Riding is...
Feet in front, McCann shot.
Riding is like, oh, coach, let's see your ride. Well, it's not about X's and O's. It's 100% about an attitude and an effort level that you see from 50 and 51 in white.
Yeah, with Notre Dame, it hasn't really been a 10-man ride that's been effective. It's been their attackman.
Yeah, it's that pass rush, so to speak. Those three guys.
Without blitzing. Taylor behind the back, off the side. And he's in the crease. Are you surprised the game has been this low scoring so far?
I am. Both teams have really gotten no midfield offense going.
Why?
In Notre Dame's case, I don't think they've really tried to operate through the midfield.
Bresci in a triple team, and a deftly called timeout by his Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe showing some wheels, little hop on the sideline, getting out on the field for the bailout timeout to preserve possession.
Alex Bresci, before the game, we saw him in that Carolina huddle, firing up the troops. Dad Chuck played at North Carolina in the early 90s. Of course, his uncle, Joe Bresci, the team's head coach. And he's played well this year. 3 goals, 8 caused turnovers, has given UNC really that second defensive midfielder to complement Connor Marr.
Solid as a rock. You're gonna get great emotion, great performance every single week. Team guy through and through. I played some post-collegiately with his dad, one of the great teammates. And with the hair now, with the long hair, that's what Dad looked like back in the 80s and 90s. A heavy metal haircut going on.
That's what I looked like a year ago.
Only thing about that haircut when you're a young lacrosse player is it gets hot. In April and May. There's
a lot of conditioner.
And there's Joe. I love the time we get to talk to Coach Bresci. He's Mr. Positivity always.
Yeah, Joe Bresci, though, did not downplay what this game and what these last 2 for North Carolina meant. He said, hey, this is the stretch run. Not only are we playing for our season, we have a chance to end Notre Dame's season.
Yeah, that's a common theme. How much do you put into that, Anish? You know, as an athlete, I don't know, sometimes it's kind of dangerous to do that, but any motivation is good motivation. And it's always satisfying to go into a foreign territory, your opponent's home gym or field, and take them out knowing that you were the reason they don't get to go to the postseason.
These teams have had some memorable battles over the year. You go back to that game that Matt Cavanaugh won. Remember with the penalty on Evan Connell, and Notre Dame had what a huge man up at the end of the game. Ended up stunning North Carolina. There's Cole Herbert. He's had some big games this year, but 5 times he's also gone without a point. Chris Gray turned away by Entenmann. Save number 8. Both goalies stopping better than 70% in this first half combined. Dobson, trail check coming, gets it over to McCann. Unsettled chance for the Irish. McCann all the way. Over to Chris Kavanaugh. Beats Krieg off that left shoulder, and Notre Dame retakes the lead.
This is a masterful shot. A beautiful clear. It starts with Enneman. Arden Cohen does the work on the rebound, and here comes McCann. Watch Krieg just cheat a little off the inside post. Most of the time, the shooter here is going to try to work it to the far post. And you see Krieg dealing with the sun, dealing with a harsh sunlight coming over the stadium right now.
They don't give Quinn McCann an assist there. I know Kavanaugh made the move, but it was
McCann
who
sucks the defense out and threw that pass left-handed. Just a perfect dummy dodge, so to speak, to the middle of the field, as if to say, you must cover me because I will score. Job accomplished by Quinn McCann.
And Kavanaugh has had a hand in all 4 Notre Dame goals. Pat Kavanaugh and Chris have scored 1 apiece, and they've each assisted on a goal. And a timeout by Kevin Corrigan. A minute 53 to go in this first half.
Just feels like playoff lacrosse.
It is playoff lacrosse.
The way both coaches are working their timeouts, and every possession has
heightened value,
significance and value. There you take a look at the Kavanaugh brothers.
11 times this season we've seen Kavanaugh to Kavanaugh.
Prior to this, one's a junior, the other's a freshman, but they never played together. Chris, 50, is the youngest of 6.
4 older brothers and older sister Colleen, all of them athletes. Matt, of course, an all-time great with the Irish, great pro career in the PLL. Kevin played hockey at Stony Brook. Brendan, a lacrosse player at Hofstra, played in the NLL. Colleen played soccer at Manhattan. There's also a hockey player mentality. Remember last year before the quarterfinals, we're in the parking lot with Pat Kavanaugh and a few of the Notre Dame guys, and Pat Kavanaugh comes in wearing a beat-up 1994 New York Rangers Stanley Cup hat. He wasn't even alive for that. 1940, Mark Messier, Adam Graves.
1940, yeah, good team. Long Island guys through and through. Chaminade, they grew up in Rockville Center. Chris ended up taking a year at Taft, but they have that hockey mentality in terms of being gritty, willing to pay the price, willing to trade elbows. A little bit of junkyard dog in both of their games.
I tell you, if you asked them, are you going to win these last few games, they would give you a Messier guarantee. They play with a swagger, too. Matt did it. We saw it at Notre Dame. As good as we've seen in an Irish uniform, and you can see it with Chris. You certainly have seen it with Pat over these last few years. A Tewaaraton finalist, an All-American. That was last year. He's one of 25 nominees for the Tewaaraton again this year. No team is led by more than 1. McCann looking for room against Pryor. Here's Taylor. Save Krieg. Rebound loose. And it comes back to the sophomore who covers up.
Sun is a major issue. Look at the shadows going straight across the field, Anish.
You saw Marr couldn't see the ball.
Football stadium's behind us. The sun sets behind us. Krieg struggled with that prior shot, and you see it on the crossfield pass.
Timeout.
Third quarter, game I called, and then up in the horseshoe, they took care of Notre Dame 14-11 by scoring 5 extra man goals on a frigid Saturday.
5 for 5 on the man up. Beat UNC by 12 on the road. Pat Cavanaugh. Checked by Matt Wright. We come up on a minute to play. Chris Cavanaugh now. Blake Gable all over him. Irish fans wanted a flag. Here's the matchup. Matt Wright and St. Patrick. Less than a minute to go. About a 4-second differential between game clock and a shot clock.
McCann has the shorty. Looks like he'll be one of the party starters here. He'll try to draw the double team.
He's been riding a hot streak too. Last 3 games, 4 goals, 4 assists, playing primarily offensively, where he was a two-way guy for the first half of the season. McCann down the alley, picked up by Blake Gable. Now Pat Cavanaugh, shot clock at 8. Against Matt Wright. Cavanaugh, no angle. Looking for Taylor, errant pass, picked up by Chris Cavanaugh. They wave it off. The shot clock had expired. Krieg motioning for his team to get downfield. Only 2.8 left. Taylor shadowing the cage. There's the whistle. Krieg launches downfield and out of bounds. Notre Dame's defense shut out North Carolina for almost the final 11 minutes of this opening half. 30 minutes that were a test of endurance, physical, rough playoff lacrosse here at Arlotta, and the Irish take a 1-goal lead into halftime. Win Thursday nighter in the ACC, and Notre Dame takes a 1-goal lead into the second half. The Irish up 4-3 on North Carolina. Survivor lacrosse elimination game for both these teams, and these goalies put up a brick wall in the cage in the first half.
It really feels like a playoff game, the way the physical intensity's been, the way the goalies have both been on point. When you look at a guy like Colin Krieg, he's a junior, he's been to championship weekend, he knows what's at stake today. And then Liam Entenmann, he's been a virtual seal of the goal. Both keepers with 8 saves. Offense has been in short supply. Jake Taylor has 2 goals for Notre Dame. He continues his hot shooting from close range. And for North Carolina, Chris Gray has a pair of points. He assisted Tillman with this great look to the backside, and then he scores unassisted on extra man, capitalizing on the over-aggressive approach. Neither team in East shooting very well. North Carolina shooting 15%. Notre Dame shooting 16%. It's been a defensive type game. I think whoever can get their midfielders going and whoever can create transition will win this game.
Now, face-offs have been in favor of the Irish as well. They've won 7 out of 9. It's an area in which Will Lynch and this unit has improved exponentially since week 1. Lynch wins it to himself. Pat Cavanaugh has Wright hung up, and now he can probe. Barton out behind the cage to greet Pat Cavanaugh. Now picked up on the switch. It's the veteran Sean Morris. First midfield, Quinn McCann, who's got the rock along with Jacobois and Dobson. McCann missed the cage, and Chris Cavanaugh with the backup. One of the 2 Cavanaugh brothers has had a hand in all 4 Notre Dame goals.
Carolina playing man-to-man defense. They're slow to double team McCann, 15 in white, as if to say, yeah, beat us and score unassisted.
Dobson, there's a midfielder, flag down, and the big sophomore out of Florida gives the Irish a 2-goal lead, the biggest lead by any team tonight.
This is going to be an and 1. The lefty running downhill to pay dirt. Double team is late, and the hit is after he releases the ball. Like a quarterback in the pocket upon release. 1001, gotta let him go. Dobson is put down. That should be a late high hit. Dead ball. Looks like there'll be no face-off. And Notre Dame will have the EMO, or we're going to face this off. There's some confusion.
This is a Notre Dame man-up unit that has been surgical. 65% tops in Division I. 0 for 2 today, however. Number 1 in white, Jeffrey Richardelli, the freshman, enters the game, part of that man-up unit. Dobson. Over to Pat Cavanaugh. Feeding inside to Richardelli, swarmed. Cavanaugh nabs it out of the air. Back to Dobson. Still plenty of time on the extra man. Cavanaugh brothers play catch. Dobson clicks and scores! A little fire from Fleming Island. And the Irish extend their largest lead at 6-3.
Back-to-backers from Dobson, showcasing the variety of skills that the sophomore from Florida has. Flamethrower from about 16 yards. You could tell he felt disrespected. The defense too soft on their perimeter. Dobson able to step in, plant, rotate. The prior goal, he showed his speed, dodging to the middle of the field. Huge play, maybe the biggest plays of the Fighting Irish season.
Zach Tucci comes out to the face-off X for UNC. Will Lynch has handled every draw for Notre Dame. Tucci and Tyre, such a potent 1-2 punch for Carolina. They're not even close to 100%. Tucci's been playing on one leg. Tyre playing through a foot injury. And here's Boyer scooping up the ground ball.
You see him limping off the field. Zach Tucci behind the play. They basically haven't practiced in 2 or 3 weeks as well.
And there's just not a lot of depth behind those two. David Lipko.
Setting up a pick and roll, the two-man game here on the wing.
Cavanaugh, no angle.
It's well defended. Jake Taylor comes out to set the pick for Cavanaugh.
There's Wheaton Jacobois, lefty runner, too high.
That's the second time. Dobson scored on the same play earlier. Jacobois and Dobson, 55 and 8, are both strong left-handed players. Surprised Carolina is giving them that pathway.
Pat Cavanaugh gets inside, bounce shot, low save, Krieg. Dobson the rebound, new 60. That one hits the crossbar. Has some English on it. Out of bounds, and Alex Bresci closest to the ball when it went out, so it's UNC ball.
Heels catch a break. Brilliant save, and then the pipe shot.
First offensive possession of this half for North Carolina.
And a big one.
Irish have scored 4 unanswered. Carolina scoreless for 14 minutes. That's an offense that went into hibernation in losses to Duke and Virginia. Only 10 goals total in those games. Put up 14 against Syracuse last time out. Not that time. Entenmann now sprints out of the cage. Tillman in pursuit. Flag down. The Irish about to go man up again. Here's Reynolds, the Richmond transfer. He's got Kavanaugh on the wing. He plays it back. Carolina has offensive personnel on the midfield, on the defensive side. They've got Solomon trapped here. Now he'll run off. Penalty coming against UNC and a chance for Notre Dame to extend free possession. Second midfield now. Riley Gray, Morrison Myrer, the freshman, Will Angrick. Myrer behind the cage. Here's Chris Kavanaugh. Swims inside, he shoots and scores. Second goal for Chris Kavanaugh. He or his brother Pat have had a hand in 6 of the 7 Notre Dame goals.
Huge. Absolutely huge. Entenmann draws the foul. Notre Dame operating with patience, knowing that they've got a flag down, and look at the fearless flying of Kavanaugh. Plants, hockey stops, protects his stick with his shoulders, elbows, gets to the inside, and he's willing to get dirty. Look at that effort, unbelievable. That kid is tough with a capital T.
3 goals in 3.5 minutes. And Notre Dame with all the momentum at the face-off X as well. Boyer coming in off the wing, well-timed. And another draw won by the Irish, 10 out of 12 now. You win face-offs with a lead like this in this kind of game, you sniff out a comeback.
Danger zone time for the Heels, who played a valiant first half, down 4-3.
And Notre Dame still has a man up here. They faced off 6-on-5. Remember, this is the best extra man unit in the country. Chris Kavanaugh fakes the pass, back to Jacobois. Dobson a couple of goals to open this third quarter. Jacobois, nothing inside. Dobson launches and scores! A third quarter hat trick, and that was an absolute Hadouken.
You're going to have to adjust your yardage of the perimeter defense, because Dobson is just zone busting from 16 yards. Coach Bresci and Carolina go to the timeout. Here's Dobson, again, planting his feet. There's no contact with his hands. There's no impact at the release point. You're not in his vision. You're not hitting him. Too easy for Eric Dobson, who has taken over this game in the third quarter.
You made the case the Notre Dame midfield, or someone's midfield, had to step up. It's been a one-man show with Dobson in quarter number 3.
The all-new Tundra. Toyota, let's go places.
Eric Dobson, 3 goals in this third quarter, and Notre Dame has scored 6 unanswered.
6'5" sophomore from South Florida. One of his credos is don't aim for corners. Just shoot for net and shoot it hard. And on the extra man, the power play, he's able to set his feet from 15 and overpower Krieg. Changing levels, a high release to a low point. If you're the Carolina defense, you got to get to his hands. You got to impact his vision. Just too easy for Eric Dobson.
We've seen this movie in the past with Notre Dame having a midfielder who can not only stretch the defense, but take a game over in Sergio Perkovic. Perkovic, of course, right-handed.
Dobson's been most impressive in my eyes this year, Anish, as a passer.
He has.
You know, last year he was a little more of a freshman midi. The transition to college is extremely difficult. good shooter, good speed. This year, like IQ, passing, subtleties and nuances of the offense, really good at it.
And he's got an offhand too. He's not just a lefty flamethrower. Obviously that's a strong hand, but he's got a little more than a show me right hand. There's Chris Gray. He's put this team on his back all season. Can he do it again? Carolina's season is on the brink.
How much can he do himself? I mean, he left Arden Cohen in the wash there off that pick.
Solomon, nope. Shot clock resets. Tillman corrals the rebound. He'll commander the offense from up top. Cole Herbert, quiet today, makes a move, gets free. Now Gray. There's the double behind the back shot. That one hit the pipe. Another shot clock reset.
Entenmann has been terrific today.
Notre Dame's got to dig deep on defense. Chance here for UNC.
It's a tough sun field when the ball's on the camera side.
Carolina will keep it. Still plenty of time to shoot.
There's Entenmann, you'll notice. Fills up the goal, ideal height for the position. Plays on a deep, low arc. He almost sits in the goal.
Jacob Kelly, that one hit the pipe. Another shot clock reset.
What I love about Entenmann, he trusts his eyes and his hands. He's not a guesser. He's a reaction goalie who shows great patience.
You kind of feel if UNC doesn't score here, it's the game. Here's Gray. Toward the crease. Bouncing off Reynolds. Now this is a long offensive possession. Multiple shot clock resets. Here's Tillman. This Notre Dame defense forces you to make the high-risk pass if you're going to be rewarded. And that shot too high. It'll stay with UNC. Now only 12 to shoot. And if the Irish get a stop, this place will erupt. Tillman. Shot clock at 4. Here's Gray. He's going to have to shoot it. Shot clock violation. Notre Dame's bench explodes.
You win with defense. Fans here in South Bend love it.
Now the ride by UNC, big clear for the Irish. Myrer gets away from right, sprints through a double team. That's got to be a backbreaker for North Carolina. Chance after chance after chance. Hit the pipe a couple of times. You couldn't cash in.
This franchise, this Notre Dame franchise is built on sturdy defense.
Always has been.
On-ball angle play, the off-ball support. They're excellent in their double teams. When to double, when not to double. They rarely create offense for their opponent by bad double teams. And that last possession, you had all the six defensive parts and the goalie working in tandem.
Mo Myrer down the alley. Now Pat Cavanaugh, 3 assists today. Over to Taylor. Feeding in front, Chris Cavanaugh gets clobbered. Flag down against UNC.
I think the goal's going to count.
Goal may count here.
This is a really weird play, the way this happened.
We'll get the explanation momentarily.
Chris Cavanaugh is taken down with a cross check. But the ball, it's a continuation flag down, and Taylor actually catches it and flips it past the goalie. This kid's unbelievable, 13 in white. But look at Cavanaugh, he's decapitated. That should be at least a minute, if not 2, unreleasable. And Taylor making the smart play, following it up, cleaning up the rebound.
So Notre Dame will face off with a man advantage on the wings. This one popped in the air near the sideline. Can the Irish keep it in bounds? It's out of bounds. It will belong to UNC. So a break for Carolina, 48 seconds to go on this Notre Dame extra man, but it's the Irish downhill right now.
This game is being played really hard. The ground ball wars, the checking, the hitting. It's a fierce sport.
7 unanswered after North Carolina took a 3-2 lead. 3 in this quarter by Dobson. Taylor, another hat trick. Pat Cavanaugh's got 3 assists and a goal. Chris Cavanaugh, 2 goals and an assist. The Irish offense only topped 12 goals once in its first 6 games. Put up 24 against Detroit Mercy. They're averaging almost 19 a game over their last 3. And here they come again. Reynolds slips. Harris jogs it up. Hits pause. And McCann and the Irish back to work. A 6-goal lead. It was 4-3 Notre Dame at halftime. Here comes Dobson. Can he do it again? Chris Cavanaugh. Taylor low. And Krieg is there. Clears have been troublesome for UNC. There's Chris Cavanaugh in pursuit of Matt Wright. Carolina's got to get it over before that shot clock hits 60. Tillman dancing through 2. Carolina has not scored since the 10:59 mark of the second quarter. More than 22 minutes. Antonin, the denial. Cohen snags it out of the air. Kelly trying to take it away. Oh, the defense has been sublime by Notre Dame.
Antonin's been an absolute brick wall.
Chris Cavanaugh to brother Pat. 11 saves for the junior from Point Lookout, New York.
Beautiful.
Double-digit saves now in 8 straight for Liam Entenmann.
Beautiful beach town on Long Island. Entenmann, rinse and repeat mentality. Every single shot, every game has led me to the here and the now. He's always looking forward. Next shot, the next shot mentality.
Will Angrick. Now it's Riley Gray. An invert option as a midfielder. Eyes up for Cavanaugh. That's Pat. 3 helpers. Here comes Myrer. Shot blocked. 10 to shoot. Gray accelerates. Back behind the cage. Pat Cavanaugh in traffic, dislodged. Shot clock violation. 1:50 to go in the third. Carolina without a goal since halftime. They have not been able to solve Liam Entenmann. 11 for 14 in cage. This might be the best we've seen Entenmann in ACC play in his career.
He's cleared the ball well today as well.
Harrison Schertzinger. UNC looking for a spark. It's season right now. Just a flicker of a flame. Tillman feeding inside. Henry Schertzinger, great look, and he whiffed. You don't get many of those against this defense. Now Dewey Egan, 6'4" freshman, San Diego. Oh, one hits the pipe. Tillman able to corral the rebound. Shot clock irrelevant, 50 seconds to go in the third. Here's Gray. Plays it to the wing and Tillman. Face dodge back to X. Egan had a cutting Schertzinger. Couldn't handle the pass. Nice play there by Morris, the veteran, 35 seconds. Now Henry Schertzinger against the shorty. McCann beats him. On a bounce, Tillman. That one doesn't go in. They've rattled the cage a few times. And Entenmann, who else, covers it up. 20 seconds to go now, 15 seconds in this third. All Notre Dame since halftime. Had a chance, it was picked off.
What a quarter. What a quarter by the Fighting Irish. Eric Dobson, Chris Kavanaugh, Liam Entenmann between the pipes. Carolina scoreless for more than 25 minutes. Irish.
Check out this verbo. Come on. Now I'm here. Now you're here. Can't go on 'cause I am right where I belong.
Your home for adventure. Your home for romance. Your home for big savings.
Hey, Mom, have you seen my... Ew.
Because when you bundle home and auto with Progressive, your home is a savings paradise. Bundles Progressive. Your home for savings.
Liam Entenmann has been stellar in cage tonight. He has stopped 11 of 14 shots. He's in our New York Life Player Spotlight.
The positive body language that he has shown throughout this game has just fed a terrific performance. His eyes are locked in on the ball, in the pocket, in the air. He's handled the ball supremely. He's a kid who only started 1 year in high school at Chaminade, which is not uncommon for Chaminade on Long Island. They've got so many lacrosse players, but he started as a JV-B guy and then a JV-A. Backup varsity, only started as a senior. He was a little bit on the under-recruited side as well, spotted by Jerry Byrne. Coach Corrigan, when he was a sophomore in Philadelphia at a showcase there.
Carolina making a change at the face-off X. Graham Schwartz had only taken 11 face-offs, wins that one, but UNC turns it over. Chase Mullins, top Fogo coming out of high school, not an option right now for North Carolina. Tyre is banged up, Tucci is banged up. They've got Schwartz, they've got Ryan O'Connell, who faced off his first 2 years at Carolina, hasn't taken many since then. He's taken 4 this year. It's desperation time on that Tar Heel sideline.
We got St. Joe's, North Carolina, and Virginia with Fogo injuries. One thing that I watched, Georgetown, Tuesday night, James Riley taking every face-off. Maryland, Luke Weirman taking every face-off. Like, does that not scare you, Anish? Like, can you survive with one Fogo from now until Memorial Day?
Georgetown's a great example. Riley got hurt in the quarterfinal against Virginia last year, and that game totally went off the rails.
And yet now they have no plan B in place. You had a blowout against Loyola the other night.
Eric Dobson with his 4th goal of this second half, and Notre Dame extends to a 7-goal lead.
You feel for goalie Colin Krieg, who's fought the tough battle this year. Early in the year, Carolina's defense was so inexperienced. He saw a lot of rubber, and he has done his job. Once again, Dobson gets to the middle of the field where the goal is biggest. and doesn't pay the price. He's able to tiptoe through the tulips and waltz his way to celebration.
4 goals for Dobson on 5 shots, and he's done all his damage in this second half. And a face-off won by Lynch. Kevin Corrigan raved about how far Will Lynch has come this season. He said part of the problems early, he blamed himself, blamed the coaching staff. He said, yeah, we should have handled things a little bit better. He was unchallenged in our practices. They talked about changing his approach. Didn't feel he was adequately prepared for the rigors of Division I lacrosse.
To lose. Okay, he's the number 22 recruit in the country. Number 2 Fogo in the class behind Chase Mullins of North Carolina, ironically. But Lynch comes in, and guess what happens when you're a freshman Fogo? You get your head handed to you.
You're not winning 80% anymore.
Right. So that challenge, adjusting the style, no longer doing a moto grip, standing neutral grip, playing against 22-year-olds, bigger, faster, stronger, playing against teams that scout you and actually know your moves.
And you look at the early season schedule for Notre Dame. You mentioned Riley at Georgetown, Weirman at Maryland, Inacio, Ohio State. So instead of entry-level 100 and 200-level classes, you're right into PhD-level classes.
Death row for a freshman Fogo, week after week. You kidding me? Here's James Riley. Here's Luke Weirman, top 2 guys in the country. Oh, Justin Inacio for week 3. Just when you start feeling good after the Michigan game where you dealt with Rowlett,
Petey.
You got Petey popping and running forward on you. Now, I give Lynch a lot of credit, and you could see the work that goes on behind the scenes with a leader like Kevin Corrigan, having to coach the psychology of the position.
Now, one of the things Notre Dame has done so well this year, they've adapted to the Byzantine whimsies of the season. Hey, third attack, it wasn't working. Takes a lot of courage for a head coach. You have to have the pulse of your team to tell a guy like Griffin Westland, who's played well for you, who scored big goals for you, to say, we got to take you out for an unproven commodity like a Jake Taylor.
Honestly, other than Maryland and maybe Georgetown, you look around the country and you see coaches willing to make subtle, small changes to try to continue to get improvement. Andy Shea of Yale says, this is about the race to improve. So whether you're Johns Hopkins and you bench Joey Epstein, or you play D. Simone at the midfield, whether you're Notre Dame and you turn to Jake Taylor in week 10 as a starting attackman, or Dave Metzbauer in North Carolina and say, you know what, Solomon and Kelly, you're playing midfield this week. Like, coaches have to always be open to change for the better.
There comes Nick Harris, accelerates, scores, dagger. First goal of the season. He had 3 last year. The junior from Dublin, Ohio. Notre Dame with 9 unanswered, and they've blown it open.
Double sevens, head on a swivel, taking it to the house. Fans here loving it. This game was tied at 3 apiece.
That feels like so long ago. This second half has been a dominating performance by Notre Dame. Carolina controls the draw. It's Graham Schwartz. Took 4 faceoffs last week against Syracuse, didn't win any. And he is their last hope. I'm not sure Carolina can rally back here. Down 8 against this goalie and this defense. Lance Tillman, not there. UNC has now missed its last 18 shots. Scoreless for more than 30 minutes. Egan back to Gray, turned away. On the rebound, Henry Schertzinger. Now it's McCann.
That hit Douglas in the back of the head, Anish. That didn't get through to Intamin. Douglas is stung.
And remember, Matt Douglas starting on defense because of the season-ending injury to Carson Cochran. Douglas walking stride for stride with Liam Intamin on the other end of the field. It appears he'll stay in. Angrick out of the box, sub-game by the Irish. Skip pass, Myrer can't handle it. There's that Sunfield. Riley Gray out of the scrap heap. And out comes to UNC. Pat Cavanaugh all over Connor Marr.
Look at him scrapping for every inch.
Up 8 goals.
Every inch.
Here's Marr toward the cage. Nothing on the shot. Bothered by Matt Douglas, who seems to be okay.
Marr's a senior, great communicator, captain on this team. I think he's a guy 31 in Carolina Blue. I think he can play in the pro league, no doubt.
Notre Dame with an 8-goal lead. They have blanked UNC for more than 30 minutes.
Okay, snacks and popcorn are going to be expensive. Let's just accept that. Going to the movies can be a lot for young homeowners turning into their parents.
Bathrooms. Even if you don't have to go, you should try.
We all know where the bathroom is and how to use it, okay?
You know, the Stevensons told me they save money bundling their boat insurance with Progressive.
No one knows who those people are. It can be painful.
Hand me your coats. There's an extra seat right here.
No. We don't need a coat wrangler.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home, auto, and more with us.
No one who made the movies here.
They are called the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They come out to Scotland the Brave. Ross Bergmaster is the bagpiper. That was from the start of the game. Every year the outgoing bagpiper leaves the bagpipe for the next player. Kevin Corrigan was telling us Bergmaster's one of the better bagpipers they've had. And, you know, Quint, you've been harsh. The bagpipe is a hard instrument to play.
Very difficult.
You ripped them in your columns. You took a shot at Will Young a few years ago. I thought Tommy McNamara did a pretty nice job last year.
Okay. He was no Regis McDermott, though, I tell you that much. Ross is an upgrade, and even Coach Corrigan admitted it. And you laughed. I told you, and this kid's for real. Scotland the Brave hasn't sounded this good in about 4 years.
Now, it's interesting because they only play one song. They don't know any other songs. It's Scotland the Brave, and that's it. So if you ask them for requests, it better be Scotland the Brave.
So if they come to your next birthday party, they're going to play you Scotland the Brave.
Right. You may want Family Madrigal. It's Scotland the Brave.
We had a live leprechaun mascot in the booth. We got a bagpipe. We got a 70-degree day.
That's the biggest win of all.
What more do you want in life? The linebacker staying open later for you. I mean, this is living.
Go see my old buddy Mike Golick Jr. He lives and dies with Notre Dame lacrosse, almost more so than football. Chris Gray has it knocked down. He's been held in check today. Came into this game needing 8 points to equal Lyle Thompson's Division I scoring record. Thompson at 400 career points. Gray at 394 with 2 today. He may only have one more game to get there. Gray shooting 1 for 8 today.
Wow, another pipe shot. Carolina
hit a few pipes.
As a team, they're shooting less than 10%.
Irish ball, shot clock, resets to 80. We saw Carolina's offense struggle in its 2 April losses to Duke and Virginia. Lost to the Blue Devils 15-6. The offense just couldn't get on track. 11-4 to Virginia. Only 3 goals today.
You know what surprised me, Anish? You talked about the midfield departures. Justin Anderson, Tanner Cook, William Perry. Also, Brian Cameron. is playing at Rutgers right now. Alex Trippi playing at Georgetown right now. Connor McCarthy, who had 14 goals last year, including the game winner.
Yeah, in that quarterfinal against Rutgers.
What surprised me is the lack of impact that their freshman class has made. #1 rated freshman class in the country with about a dozen guys, all different positions, and really the only one we're seeing today is Dewey Egan, right? That's a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought they would be more of an impact.
It's been a theme around college lacrosse. That shot saved. It'll reset the shot clock. Jacobois follows it. Stays with Notre Dame. The freshmen this year, and I think you can point to a few factors of that. A lot of these guys had crucial developmental periods in high school taken away because of COVID.
Yeah, the current college sophomore class lost their senior year. Those are massive reps that you're missing out when you're the senior guy, whether it's attack midi or goalie or faceoffs. This freshman group, not only did they lose their junior year, but they're dealing with an environment, an economy now that's got an extra class worth of kids. Like there's a whole group of COVID year players and graduate transfers. So it's tougher to crack the lineup. Rosters are bloated. They're giant.
And with transfer portal being all the rage, a lot of teams and a lot of coaches are saying, give me the sure thing. Give me the guy who's produced in college before I play a freshman who had developmental time taken away from him in high school.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting the way it plays out over the next couple years.
Gray forced back.
Wow.
Lost his stick.
He wants a call. That is just team defense.
There's the bagpiper, Bergmaster, number 27. Quint, the version of Notre Dame we have now seen for 4 games, I would not want to play them in the NCAA tournament.
Again, resume light coming into this game. 5 wins, 4 losses. RPI 17. Look at the double team on Chris Gray, creating a yard sale here near Elkhart. They got great yard sales on Sundays.
RV capital of America.
If you like boating and water sports. But Notre Dame now win over number 12 Duke and a win over number 11. Let's say they hold on here. North Carolina. Still with work to do. Got Syracuse and Duke. Again, I still think they need both of those.
I agree.
Playing like a top 8 team, resume not so hot.
Kevin Corrigan, we asked him, we said, hey, what do you think you need to do to get into this NCAA tournament? His Angrick shot is blocked. He was candid. He said, we need to win out. He's been around long enough, 30 plus years at the helm. 34 to be exact. He knows the weight RPI has in that selection room as Carolina finally gets on the board here in the second half. Cooper Frankenheimer in transition. It's the first goal for UNC since the 10:59 mark of the second quarter.
Nice looking transition goal. Frankenheimer finishes the freshman. There we go. We got a freshman from Malvern Prep in PA. Good to see the smiles. Their season's not over. Again, they played Duke on May 1st, a televised game. They got a W there. Anish, they could be looking at a possible 5 top 20 wins, depending how Richmond and Hopkins finish out their season. Their resume would be on the board. It would be in that bubble category if they can beat Duke in the season finale.
The problem they're going to have, you start measuring them against some of the Ivies who can inflate their RPI by playing each other. If it comes down to a UNC and let's say an Ohio State, the Buckeyes have the head-to-head. If a Denver or a Villanova wins the Big East, and now Georgetown slides to the at-large spot. For all intents and purposes, if they beat Duke, do they have a chance? Yeah, it's probably still a very slim one. That's why this game was so important. And Notre Dame, you look at what they've got coming the last 2 games. They play Syracuse, a team that they have dominated the last couple of years. They beat them 22-6 earlier this year. Last year they handed Syracuse one of the worst home losses in school history. Now Pat Cavanaugh, in 2 games against the Cuse last year, had 19 points. Then he had a 9-point game against the Orange earlier this year. They haven't figured out how to stop Syracuse, or Syracuse hasn't figured out how to stop Cavanaugh. And Quint, that's a Syracuse team which, quite frankly, what are they playing for right now?
Damn, look at the hitting going on. Cuse is playing.
They're eliminated from the postseason.
Yeah.
They're going to finish under 500.
I tell you one thing about that team, though. They have scrapped and fought,
They do.
and they don't quit. They run out of gas because of so many injuries and lack of depth. But they're trying. I got a lot of respect for the way they're playing, maybe not the results.
That May 7th game between Notre Dame and Duke, there's a lot of history there. You think about how many times Duke has stood in Notre Dame's way. In the previous decade, Duke eliminated Notre Dame from the NCAA tournament 5 times. And that game on the 7th may very well be for one spot in the NCAA tournament.
That game's on ESPN 2.
Yes.
It's championship weekend across the ESPN families. You get to see some championship games from the Ivy. I believe the America East is on as well. 10 automatic qualifiers from leagues get handed out that weekend. And then there's 8 at-large selections.
Maryland right now is the consensus #1 as Angrick makes it 12-4. After Maryland, how would you rank 2, 3, and 4 in terms of confidence getting to a semifinal?
I like Georgetown. I think Georgetown's, I got to watch them on Tuesday night, really handled Loyola. Love their defense and goaltending, extremely strong face-off game. Their top line attack and midfield, outstanding. I mean, Dylan Hess, Graham Bundy Jr., Dylan Watson, TJ Haley. That team's loaded. Like, that team could play on Memorial Day. I think Princeton's offense in the Ivy League, when I look at it, and I've tried to watch a lot of tape, I love Princeton's offense, and I think Yale has a very good team. Outside of that, I'm not so convinced Cornell's where they need to be right now. I thought they were better about a month ago. They've kind of hit a wall.
This Notre Dame team, certainly if they get in, can make a run. What about a Virginia or a Duke?
Oh, absolutely. Virginia's issue right now, in my eyes, injuries. A little banged up with Matt Moore and Schellenberger, Petey LaSalla, got some defensive injuries as well, Jack Peel.
Virginia did not inspire much confidence going into the postseason last year as Tillman's over-the-shoulder shot is wide. We'll get a penalty. Remember, down the stretch last year, Virginia lost in overtime to Duke, beat Utah, lost its regular season finale to Syracuse. Had 3 weeks off, almost lost that opening round game, didn't play well, and then all of a sudden looked like, as Kevin Warren said, Jurassic Park in the quarters against Georgetown.
Virginia plays in the Dome on Saturday, I believe.
Yep.
Next week, you've got that game. Next week, I have their game at home against Lafayette on Thursday. Then they're done for the year. So they get an extra week and a half off at the tail end.
I actually am not doing that Syracuse-Virginia game. I'm on the Brian Kelly plan, going from South Bend to LSU for the spring game straight from here.
I love some of his recruiting videos on social media.
Lance Tillman, low corner, 12-5.
I think defensive coordinators going to have to reinvestigate some of the concepts with man-down defense because the yardage has changed. This is not 1980s and 1990s lacrosse when you said, well, if the guy shoots from 12 yards and out, that's on our goalie. That yardage has moved now to 14. We see Dobson hit earlier from 16 yards. The velocity and accuracy that players can shoot with now demands that defense play guys at 15 and 16 yards, not like the old school 12 yards.
We're going to see it this summer in the PLL as we've seen it the last few years. The 2-point line is the college game. Ready for that?
I think we're in a good spot right now. Other than having to clean up the face-offs, the shot clock has been just a gigantic positive in this sport in the last 3 years. It's given the game back to the players. It's created outcomes every minute or so. Goalies now factor more in the games. There's just more scenarios for action.
I remember you and I have had this conversation on the air going back a few years pre-shot clock. Where did all the great goalies go? We threw in a shot clock. The great goalies are back, Quint.
You know with the shot clock that there'll be resolution at the end of every possession that often ends in a shot. And bad shots get punished, as Liam Entenmann so expertly has done today.
You want a great goalie. We saw two tonight, but Liam Entenmann stood on his head. Both teams came into this one with their season on the line, looking to stay alive. This was Survivor. This was an eliminator.